Afternoon, everybody. So the next part of the hospital waste management chapter. The contents of today's presentation is continuation of the treatment and disposable technologies for the healthcare waste, biomedical waste management and handling rules 1998, the schedules present in it, the forms, and the steps in the management of biomedical waste and management of biomedical waste in COVID-19 patients. So we have already discussed the incineration, which involves a very high temperature dry oxidation process and chemical disinfection using various disinfectants, and wet and dry thermal treatment. Wet thermal treatment where we use steam for disinfection, just like autoclaving process, and dry thermal treatment, screw feed technology, where the waste is shedded before treatment. And today we will be discussing microwave irradiation, land disposal methods, and inertization. So first, microwave irradiation. Here, microwave is used for the disinfection process. Here, the frequency used is about 2450 Hz with a wavelength of about 12.24 nanometers, which destroys most of the microorganisms. So using this disposable method, we usually disinfect the recyclable waste like syringes, needles, and tubings. So, and also the infectious waste, and even the anatomical waste also can be disinfected using the microwave irradiation. But before that, they have to be shredded into tiny pieces. The infectious waste and all can be disposed of before sending them to the final disposal. So water contained within the waste is completely reduced, and all the waste is rapidly heated by the microwaves. So the infectious components which are present in the waste are completely destroyed using by the method of heat conduction here. So microwave disinfection, though this is a very useful method, it must be checked routinely through bacteriological and virological tests to check its efficiency, whether there is complete reduction of the microorganisms or not. So coming to the advantages of this has a good disinfection efficiency under appropriate operating conditions, and the waste volume is almost reduced up to 80% here. And environmentally sound, it is a sound method because there is no generation of any ash or any flue gas like in incineration method. But disadvantages is that it has a very high investment and operating cost, and also the operation also requires a skilled personnel, and maintenance problems do occur with the microwave irradiation method. So next method is land disposal. So if any municipality or medical authority lacks a means to treat waste before disposal, the use of landfill has been as acceptable disposal route. All of you have visited the Maridi Valley, where all the municipal waste is being dumped into the open land. So this is one of the method where you finally dispose of the waste. So there are two types of methods here: open dumps and sanitary landfills. But open dumps are not directly used for the disposal of healthcare waste. It is it is not at all acceptable for disposal here in open dumps. And because if you just dispose it in open places, either the people like rag pickers or animals who come in contact with this waste they are having the chances of getting infected. So it's not advisable to dispose them in open dumps. So this is the open dump method, and this is the sanitary landfill. Open dumps is not advisable for the healthcare waste. If you see this sanitary landfill diagram, you can see that all the waste is compacted here, and here there is a particular space between the groundwater and the waste, so that there is no leaking of the waste into the groundwater and there is no water pollution here. So this is a very engineerically constructed method where there are setting up of pipes so that to check for the leakage of any waste from this compacted solid waste. So these are the leachate pipes, and here they are again connected to storage tank where all the leakage is collected, and even the leakage is again treated as well. So here you can see the leachate monitoring well. So see that where there is any leakage or not, and also the ground water monitoring well to check the standards of the groundwater, if there is if it is getting any polluted or anything. And here you can see that all the waste, you have the topsoil, and then you have the sand, clay, and then you have the garbage. So in levels, just like in trench method, you have already learned in the solid waste disposal. In the same method, the deep trenches or dumps are dug, and in that the solid this treated waste, the hospital waste, is dumped in a daily wise manner, and when it has reached the soil surface, then the clay and the sand are just dumped over it and then covered with topsoil. And even from the waste, the methane gas can also be recovered, which can be used for generation of electricity or cooking or anything. So this is a very good method which is environmentally sound for the disposal of healthcare waste. So sanitary landfills have about 4 advantages when compared to the open dumps. So there is geological isolation of waste from the environment. As we have seen, there is a clear-cut space between the groundwater and the waste, and appropriate engineering preparation before the site is ready to accept the waste. So before itself, they do a lot of survey, and they prepare the engineerically constructed, compacted the site, the sanitary landfill, so that to ensure the deposition of the waste. And there is continuous staff are present there to control the operations, so that there is no leakage or anything, or any explosions or anything. So there is an organized deposit here, layer by layer. Every day, the daily waste which is generated is laid on the in the is compacted, and then it is covered with sand and clay. Next, another method of the sand disposal is encapsulation. Here you can see in this diagram, in a barrel, it is all the waste, like especially the pharmaceutical waste and sharps, that is the syringes, sharp items, blades like that, scalpels. All these are dumped in it, and 3/4 of this of the barrel is filled with waste, and then to immobilize it, it is filled with plastic foam, sand, clay, or a cement mixture. So, and then it is covered and completely sealed permanently, and then it is buried in a secure burial pit, and then transported to the waste site. Or either way, either it is buried, or it then after compacting the barrel, it is transferred to the municipal waste site where they will be treating it. So this is a encapsulation method. So this is very simple, low cost and safe method for pharmaceuticals and waste. And this it is applied to pharmaceuticals, but it is not recommended for non-sharp infectious waste, or for recyclable waste or infectious waste. You cannot use this method. So another one is safe burying. Here you can see the deep burial pit for biomedical waste diagram. Here there is a security fence around the pit, so that there is no access to any animals or rag pickers like that, and the sheet of meshware is as well covered over the fill. And here again, deep trenches dug, deep like a burrow it is digged, and then all the biomedical waste is dumped into it. So, and again it is covered with 10 centimeters of soil and again waste. And again till the contents reach about 50 centimeters of the surface, the hole is again filled with soil. So again it is covered with earth so that the animals again or anything, there will be no access for them. So this is also a very low cost method which can be implemented for small PHCs like that. So this is relatively safe if the access is restricted and also natural infiltration is limited. Natural infiltration refers to access to groundwater. The groundwater must not be polluted. We must take care about it. And it is safe only if the access to site is limited and certain precautions are taken. So the last one is inertization. Here, this is similar to encapsulation, where here the waste is mixed with cement and other substances before disposal to reduce the risk of toxic substances contained in the waste migrating into the surface water or groundwater. But this is little different from that. Here you can see how it is filled with cement. All the waste is mixed with cement and made like a big pellet. So the typical proportion of the mixture would be 65%. Mainly it is used for disposal of the pharmaceutical waste. About 65% would be pharmaceutical waste and 15% would be lime and 15% cement and 5% of water. So in this way, it is made into a thick solid stack, and then this mass is made into cubes or pellets, and then it is transported to suitable storage sites. So this is relatively inexpensive, but it's not applicable to infectious waste. It's mainly for pharmaceutical waste. So all the methods which are used for disposal of healthcare waste. So the national legislation is responsible for improving the disposable practices in any country. So each country has their own practices, their own rules for this methods. So usually the Ministry of Health in any country is responsible because they would be establishing the legal control, and they will be permitting the national agency responsible for disposal of healthcare waste. So Ministry of Environment is also involved here. So there should be clear designation of responsibilities before the law is enacted. So whoever generates the waste, whoever treats the waste, whatever their responsibilities, they have to be pertaining to them. So the responsibilities must be clearly designated before enacting the law. There has been a conference on the environment and development by the United Nations in 1992, which has recommended the following measures. First one is prevent and minimize waste production. First of all, we must try to minimize the waste production as less extent as possible, and also try to reuse or recycle the waste. Some waste can be recycled as well, and treat waste by safe and environmentally sound methods. The biomedical waste itself is environmentally hazardous, and even the treating method also, if it is causing threat to the environment, it's again it's causing harm in back. So we have to prefer the environmentally sound methods for treatment of this healthcare waste. And the final residue after treatment of by the different disposable methods in landfill should be carried out in designated sites, which should be mostly far away from the residential areas. It should be far away from the cities, wherever the human mobilization is very less. It is preferable to keep in that kind of sites. So in India, what biomedical waste management, what are we following? So the Ministry of Environment and Forest, Government of India, has enacted the biomedical waste management and handling rules way back in 1998. This came to force on 28 July. So this was going on amended. So certain changes were being made in that. After 1998, it was amended on 6 March 2000 and again in 17 September 2003. And now the Biomedical Waste Management Rules 2016, which were established on 28 March, the notification, the Gazette of Law has released certain rules to be followed by the whole India to manage the biomedical waste. So in them, they have given about 18 rules and 4 schedules and 5 forms to be filled. So these are the different aspects of this biomedical waste management rules. So what this rules, whoever it is applicable to all the uh, institutions or whoever persons who generate, collect, receive, store, dispose, treat, or handle the biomedical waste in any kind of manner. Like we have seen so many sources of the biomedical waste: government hospitals, private hospitals, OP clinics, dental hospitals, research organizations, and so many else. So everybody is all to everybody of them. These rules are applicable, and not only those who generate, but also those who treat and handle this biomedical waste. That is the biomedical treatment facility, in our Vishakhapatnam, our Maridi Valley people. Like they are the here we have two different definitions: occupier and operator. Occupier is the person who is. It includes all the institutions who generate the biomedical waste. So the person, whoever is responsible for that institution, like in medical college we have a medical superintendent, and for big hospitals we have hospital chief. So that person is termed as the occupier. Operator refers to the person who operates or controls the biomedical waste, who is responsible for all the collection, reception, storage, treatment, and all this disposal of this biomedical waste. All that person is termed as operator. So you have to know the difference between occupier and operator. So, but this biomedical waste management rules are not applicable for radioactive waste because they have their own set of rules. And municipal solid waste, that is again different. And e-waste, e-waste refers to the electronic waste like cell phones, whatever, laptops, refrigerators, whatever the electronic gadgets. All these are under e-waste management rules. That is a different thing. And lead acid batteries and hazardous waste and hazardous microorganisms, genetically engineered microorganisms in cells, where so many research is being done on them. So all this, it's not applicable. Only to the hospital waste, this biomedical waste management rules are applicable. So there are 4 schedules, as we have already talked. So in the first schedule, it is about the biomedical waste categories and how to segregate them, collection, treatment process, and disposable options. And second one is the different standards for the treatment and disposal of the biomedical waste. And third is the list of prescribed authorities and their corresponding duties, whoever is responsible for this management of biomedical waste. And the fourth one is the label for the biomedical waste. Containers or bags. So we have 4 categories of this biomedical waste. First one is yellow, red, white, and blue. In the yellow, we have so many types of waste to be disposed of. So here we have yellow colored non-chlorinated plastic bags. So in this, we have first type of waste is human anatomical waste. This includes all the human parts which are amputated, or fetus which is delivered, which is below the viability period. Viability period refers to 28 weeks. So the aborted fetus, the amputated human parts, or those human parts which came for um, what do you say, the biopsy, and all this human related things, all this would be coming as human anatomical waste. And animal anatomical waste includes all the expired animals, animal carcasses, which are used in experiments, or all the waste which is generated from animals in veterinary hospitals. So all this are comes under the animal anatomical waste. So both of this would be disposed by incineration or plasma pyrolysis or deep burial method. Anything can be used for disposal of this. They have to be thrown into yellow bags, and then they have to be treated. Next is the soiled waste. This includes all the items which are contaminated with blood or body fluids. This also includes the plastic cast, the cotton swabs when you take the blood samples, or any bags, containers which contains blood or residual blood components. So all this would be coming under the category of soiled waste. So this also should be disposed by incineration of plasma pyrolysis or deburial after throwing them into yellow bag. Next includes the expired or discarded medicines. So this also includes the cytotoxic drugs as well. This should be either sent back to the manufacturer itself. So wherever they have acquired this medicines, they have to send back to that manufacturer if it is expired, or if they are not able to send, they can be also processed by incineration at more than 1200 degrees centigrade. Okay, next is chemical solid waste. This includes the discarded disinfectants or okay, this includes all the discarded disinfectants or chemicals which are used in the production of biologicals and all. Okay, this also disposed by incineration or plasma pyrolysis or encapsulation. Next is chemical liquid waste. This includes all the disinfectants, expired disinfectants, and also it includes the infected liquids like aspirated fluids and infected secretions, and all this would be coming under chemical liquid waste. And so all this waste you should not throw into bags, but there should be a separate collection and disposable into the effluent treatment system. These chemicals, all whatever the secretions or aspirations, they have to be pre-treated before mixing with other wastewater. First you have to treat them, and then you have to mix with other wastewater. You cannot just dump into the regular sewage. Okay, next category is the discarded linen, mattresses, beddings, and all. Any patients in the wards or ICUs, you can say that they may be the linen or mattresses, they may be discarding them if they're contaminated with blood or body fluids. So these are also thrown into the yellow colored non-chlorinated plastic bags or suitable packages, because the linen and mattresses are very big in size. You cannot may fit them into the bags. So suitable packaging should be used. So here also after non-chlorinated chemical, first you have to do the non-chlorinated chemical disinfection, and then followed by incineration or plasma pyrolysis. And another one, last category in yellow bags is the microbiology, biotechnology, and other clinical laboratory waste. This includes the blood bags, lab cultures, and all the various specimens and cultures which are used in the labs. All this would be coming under this category. So here the blood bags and the blood banks and all. So you have to discard them into autoclave safe plastic yellow bags or containers. So first you have to pre-treat them before throwing them into the bags according to WHO or NACO guidelines on site itself, and then you have to send them for incineration. So these are all the categories under the yellow bags, either yellow containers or yellow bags. So all these are even the cotton masks which are sorry, not cotton, the surgical masks or N95 masks, whatever we are using now in the present times, the gowns, the PPE kits, all this also would be thrown into the yellow bags. So the same which we have discussed in the categories. Next is the red color category. Here also the red color non-chlorinated plastic bags or containers are used. Here mainly we dispose of the recyclable waste. RR you can remember like this. So recyclable waste are thrown into the red waste which are contaminated. So here these are the different categories. Recyclable waste includes mainly the syringes which are without needles, because needles would be coming under the sharp category. So only the plastic, the syringes, the IV sets, the catheters, gloves, urine bags, dialysis kits, IV bottles. So most of these are plastics. So this all would be, you have to throw into the red color bags. So So this red color bags would be autoclaved or microwave or hydroclaving can be done, followed by shredding and mutilation or combination of sterilization and shredding. Shredding is nothing but breaking down into small pieces. So the plastic waste should not be sent to the landfill sites. You cannot just dump them into the landfill sites. So you have to autoclave or microwave, and then it is recycled again after following all these methods. Next category is the white translucent. Here we throw all the sharp materials, including the metal. So the bags should be puncture proof. It should not be easily punctured, and leak proof it should be, and tamper proof containers must be used for this method in this category. So here all the sharp objects like needles, syringes with fixed needles, blades, scalpels, after disinfecting them with 1% hypochlorite solution. That is, you have to throw them all into the 1% hypochlorite solution, keeping it for some time, and then you have to send it for autoclaving or dry heat sterilization. We have already studied what is dry heat sterilization, and then followed by again you have to shred it or mutilate, or encapsulation also can be done, and then finally it can be disposed in iron foundries or sanitary landfills or waste sharp pits. Pits like in PHCs like that, where they are not where they cannot be sent to the biomedical waste treatment facilities. They dig the small sharp pits, and then after treating with 1% hypochlorite, they just dump into it. So next category is the blue cardboard boxes, or here like boxes you can see here. Here mainly the glass or metal items are thrown into this. So glass items includes mainly the glass slides after laboratory lab they will be using so many lab slides. Right? And not only that, the glass, the broken glass samples, files, all this also can be thrown into the blue card boxes. And metals, the nails which are used in ortho, and metallic body implants and scissors. In dental, usually they use all this. So all this they can be thrown into this blue one. So first, this also they have to be disinfected by soaking in sodium hypochlorite solution for some period of time, and then they can be autoclaved or microwaving or hydroclaving, and then they're sent for recycling again. Okay. So this is about the different categorization of the biomedical waste which is generated. All this waste should be segregated at the point of generation itself. That is whoever the nurses, the doctors who are working. So at that point, when you treat the patient, whatever the waste is generated, at that time only you have to keep all the bins at the place, and accordingly you have to throw into the bins, the color bins to which they belong. So in this schedule, part A is about the categorization, and part 2 is about the different aspects of explaining the part 1. So all the plastics bags which are used in the biomedical waste, that yellow, red or white, all should be according to the BIS standards, the Bureau of Indian Standards. So because according to the plastic waste management rules, so they have to be of certain nanometers, so that they do not pose any threat to the environment, so that the bags again would be recycled. So here chemical treatment using 10% sodium hypochlorite solution, having 30% residual chlorine for about 20 minutes. We have seen, right, for the yellow, for the white and blue bags, we have to chemically treat them with 10% sodium hypochlorite for about 20 minutes, or any other equivalent chemical, so that 10 power 4, this is there is 10 power 4 log 10 reduction in the microorganisms. And mutilation or shedding, that is, we make them into small pieces right before disposing of them finally. So the size of the particles should be to an extent so that there is no authorized reuse should be done. Sorry, unauthorized reuse should be done. And before incineration, we need not do any chemical treatment. So except for microbiological lab and highly infectious waste, we have to treat it. Otherwise, no need of pre-treatment before incineration. And incineration ash, which is produced is considered as hazardous waste if the toxic or hazardous constituents are present beyond the prescribed limits as given in the hazardous waste management rules 2008. They are again revised, just like we have biomedical waste management rules, we have hazardous waste management rules. So they are again revised time to time. So accordingly we have to dispose them, the incineration ash. And dead fetus we have already talked about. So below the period of viability is considered as human anatomical waste, and it should be disposed in a yellow bag. Along with that, you cannot just dispose of like that. You have to get an official MTP certificate from the obstetrician or the medical superintendent of the hospital or healthcare establishment before disposing them. And cytotoxic drug vials, that is the drugs mainly which are used in the cancer treatment, they must not be handed over to unauthorized persons under any circumstances. They have to be, we already talked about this, they have to be sent back to the manufacturer for disposal, or they can be incinerated at temperature more than 1200 degrees centigrade. So the residual of discarded chemical waste, that is the disinfectants, the chemical sludge, they can be disposed at hazardous waste management. So on-site pre-treatment of laboratory microbiological waste, that should be disinfected as per the WHO or NACO. What is NACO? National AIDS Control Organization. That is according to that guidelines, we have to pre-treat that then, and then you have to send for the biomedical waste treatment facility. And in-house incinerator. In-house incinerator refers to some hospitals which do not have access to common biomedical waste treatment facility, or which are located at very far away locations and which have a very big more hospital bed strength. Such hospitals, they can establish their own biomedical waste treatment, that is incinerators they can set up by after taking authorization from the State Pollution Control Board, whichever state they belong to. So only in such circumstances they will be allowing, but usually it's not allowed because the maintenance and operation of this incinerator is very high risk and it requires many skilled personnel and all. And the syringes and all, we have to dispose them in tamper-proof, leak-proof and puncture-proof containers at the site itself. And if the occupier is not linked to a disposal facility, it shall be responsibility of the occupier. Occupier means the hospital, the main person of the hospital who is generating the waste, the medical superintendent or chief, hospital chief. He is the person who should be taking care of this. He must be giving the instructions to his below workers to do sterilize and dispose them in the manner prescribed if they are not linked to a disposable facilities. So biomedical waste which is generated in households during healthcare activities, that is sometimes in our homes there may be some chronic patients like who needs injections every day, like that we will be treating them at home, we'll be giving injections like that. So all that syringes, the needles, which the gloves or the cotton swabs after taking the giving the injection, what we should do? We must not just throw them into the general waste, that is the municipal waste. We must not just throw like that. You have to pack them in separate bags or containers, and then you have to give to the municipal waste collectors. Every day, the municipal waste collectors would be coming to our house. So you have to give to them so that the urban local bodies here, we have in Visakhapatnam, we have the GVMC. In Hyderabad, GHMC or whatever, the municipal corporation, the people, they will be having tie-up with the biomedical waste treatment facilities, like the Maradi Valley people. They will be having tie-up with them. So they will be picking up this waste from the material recovery facility, MRF, or from the household directly, so that they will be following the same procedures. If it is syringes like that, they'll be disposing them in by red category, like that. Infectious waste means yellow category, like that. Whatever they'll be following. So we must not throw the biomedical waste which is generated in the house, like injections or whatever, gloves. Now in these COVID times, we are mostly having lot of biomedical waste being generated at houses as well. So we must not just throw them directly into the regular municipal waste. Next, coming to the standards, here Schedule 2 is all about the standards which is being set up for incinerators, plasma pyrolysis, autoclaving, microwaving, deep burial, for efficacy of this chemical disinfection, dry heat sterilization, liquid waste. So, what are the different standards, how to operate it, how to check the efficiency of this methods, all this would be giving in this Schedule 2. And Schedule 3 is about the prescribed authorities who are responsible for this biomedical waste and what are their duties. So at the top we have the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India. And below them we have the Central Ministry or State Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Animal Husbandry and Veterinary, all they will be coming. And next we have the Ministry of Defense. And at the central level, again we have the Central Pollution Control Board. They would be monitoring all the pollution which is caused by the incineration and all, the biomedical waste treatment facilities and all. And then we have the state government of health or union territory government or administration. And then we have the state pollution control board or pollution control committees, PCC. And then at the last we have the municipalities or corporation and urban local bodies and gram panchayats at the village level, whatever urban local bodies we have in the cities. So all these are the different authorities who are responsible for the this management of this biomedical waste, who take care of this. Next, Schedule 4, Part A, we have the label for the biomedical waste bags or containers. So whatever bags we are using, the yellow, red or white, blue, we have the symbols on it. The biohazard symbol must be present on it. So this is the symbol. And for cytotoxic drugs, the cancerous drugs which we use, there is a cytotoxic hazard symbol, C, and with a triangle inserted, C, which is inserted in a triangle. So this label should be clearly visible and it should be non-washable. So this is the labels which is designated by the authorities for printing on the biomedical waste bags or containers. And this one is Part B. This is also whatever the biomedical waste bags or containers are being during transport, should have a label for it. So what is the waste which is generated, how much of quantity in kgs or whatever, and send us name and address, that is the occupier, the person who is for example our college, Gayatri Vidya Parishad, the phone number, the contact person, whomever the RMO or whoever is responsible, and day, month, year, date of generation. So receiver's name and address refers to the Maradi Valley. So whomever we are sending, all these details should be written on this. And not only this, from each ward in our hospital, we have different wards and different orthopedics or gynec or ENT, whatever waste they are generating, they also should be labeled. The waste which is produced from that particular department, the date of production, place of production, waste category, whether it is yellow, red or whatever, all things should be written, and the sister in charge, that is the nurse who is responsible for that ward, who will be signing and giving to the storage room where it is temporarily stored, and then it is transported and given to the biomedical waste treatment facility. So we also have about 5 forms. First one is about accident reporting. First one is about the accident reporting. Whatever the accidents which are caused during the generation, storage or transportation or during the treatment of this biomedical waste, all that accidents should be reported to our state pollution, to our state pollution control board. So the prescribed authorities, they have to be reported about all the accidents, and application for authorization or renewal of authorization, that is the whoever occupier or operator who are generating the waste or treating the waste, they have to be authorizing their this thing. So for that also there is an application, and authorization for operating facilities, that the person who is owning the common treatment biomedical waste treatment facility, So that person for taking authorization, there is again separate form. And another one is the annual report. So either the healthcare facility or the biomedical, common biomedical waste treatment facility, they have to give an annual report, that is a yearly report from January to December, how much waste they have produced, how much waste they have generated, what kind of waste and what everything they have to report to their prescribed authority, the State Pollution Control Board, by 31st January every year, from January to December, whatever they have done. In the next year, January, by 31st, they have to submit that report. And again, then the state would be sending to Central Pollution Control Board, and Central Pollution Control Board would be sending to Ministry of Environment and Forest Affairs. And also, fifth one form is about the application for filing appeal against order passed by the prescribed authorities. So the authorities may be releasing certain rules and guidelines. So if the occupier or operator they are unhappy with it, they can file an appeal against the order of whatever they are not happy with to the High Court, High Court or whatever the district court present in their area. So, after knowing about all this, the ultimate summary is steps in the management of biomedical waste. So, in any healthcare establishment or healthcare facility, how we have to manage the biomedical waste. First step is survey of waste generated. How much? First, we have to have an idea of how much waste is being generated in our hospital, how much hazardous waste is generated, how much non-hazardous waste is generated. And then you have to segregate the hospital waste at the point of generation itself, yellow, red, white, blue, or general waste you can throw into the green dustbins. So at that point of generation itself, you have to segregate, and then you have to collect here these two segregation, collection, categorization, both steps would be coinciding. Here it includes all the categorization of waste, includes all the whatever the biomedical waste management rules 2016 have given us. So you have to categorize them accordingly, and you have to collect them from all the wards, and then it is stored. It is taken to a temporary storage room. For every hospital, there must be a temporary storage room, which is known to the person who is handling the waste. So whatever the waste, the sanitary workers who are involved in this, transporting all this waste, they must have the personal protection equipment. They have to have the gloves and all, so that they are not again infected in between. So all this waste which is kept in the storage room, it's called storage room. So it must not be stored beyond 48 hours before transporting them to the common biomedical waste treatment facility. So the storage room should be very careful so that it is locked. All the waste, it should not be accessible to any animals or any rag pickers or anybody. Nobody must be accessible to them. So it must be completely closed, and then it should be transported in particular vehicles. We in the morning we see so many the waste vehicles. For this healthcare waste, we have separate vehicles. The Maridi vehicles would be coming and taking the waste, and then after taking them to the treatment facility, there they would be treating the waste and finally disposing of it, depending upon what category of waste it is. So again, we have to have first of all a survey. We must have an idea of what kind of waste we are mostly generated in orthopedic, like that way, which is more specialty. We are having more of it. We may have more of the yellow color this thing. So if dental are more, like we may have in the blue color waste, maybe category of waste maybe over. So we must try to first minimize the amount of waste which is produced, and also we have to try to recycle or reuse the waste which is generated after treatment. So this is about the steps in management of biomedical waste. And in the present times, I told you to already read about this COVID-19 patients. What are the different guidelines which is being released by the government of India for the management the biomedical waste of COVID-19 patients. So just it's not given in your textbooks. It may be asked in your Viva, so just for your knowledge, I'm just telling about this about 4 slides. First, in this COVID-19 isolation wards or ICU wards, we have to have separate color coded bins, not apart from regular wards and all. Here with for COVID-19, we have to have separate color coded bins. Mostly it should be food operated so that we need not touch it with our hands. So we have to segregate the waste as per our biomedical waste management rules 2016, that is the yellow, red, blue, white, same as like infectious waste, whatever recyclable waste, we will be disposing of them in the same manner, but we'll be having separate color coded bins. And bags also, we'll be having double layered bags as a precaution, not single bags, because to ensure there is no leakage and to ensure strength from COVID-19, so that the waste is not just thrown anywhere. We must use the double layered bags and dedicated collection bins, whatever we are having, or the trolleys which are used, which we are using for storing or transporting this waste. We have to label them as COVID-19. We have to just keep a note on it as COVID-19, and you have to temporary storage room. I told you, no, we have a storage room before sending for transporting them. We have to keep all the waste. This COVID-19 waste have to be kept separately apart from the other hospital waste. Okay, and the inner and outer surface of the containers, bins or trolleys which are used for this transport of this COVID-19 storage, you have to spray them with 1% sodium hypochlorite solution every day, inside as well as outside. You have to spray them. And general solid waste, that is general solid waste includes all the food waste. Lot of waste would be generating, right? Like all the food packages and all. Lot of waste will be coming. So whatever the waste which are the waste which is produced from the COVID-19 patients, they have to be collected separately as per the solid waste management rules 2016. So, but we are not intending to use the yellow colored bags for this purpose. You must use the compostable bags, the black bags, to be for collecting the wet waste. Food waste is all comes under the category of wet waste. So you have to use the compostable bags for collection, but not the yellow bags. Previously, even in quarantine centers also, we used whatever this food waste and all, they used to dump into the yellow color bags, but now they have changed this. They can be disposed in compostable bags, but yellow bags are not required. And record of, we have to maintain record, right? Whatever waste is being generated. So this should be separate. You have to maintain this separate record, not included in the regular hospital waste record. And the opening or operation of the COVID-19 ICU wards, you must report everything to the State Pollution Control Board or Pollution Control Committees and respective this common biomedical waste treatment facilities located in the area. So every day the report should be sent, whatever your waste is being generated. And also you have there is a mobile application from the CPCB, that is the Central Pollution Control Board, that is COVID-19 biomedical waste management. So whatever the COVID care centers, the district COVID hospitals, whoever are involved in this, they have to have this. They will be having this application. So they have to update every detail of this biomedical waste, whatever they're generating, into this application. Okay, and you have to have separate dedicated sanitation workers for this biomedical waste and general solid waste management in COVID-19. So for the transportation and everything, you should not mix them with other waste management sanitary workers. So if they are having any symptoms or whatever, such persons should not be used for biomedical waste. So there should be separate sanitary workers for COVID-19 waste transport and storage. So, and about the feces which is used for, produced from the COVID-19 confirmed patient, those who are, some people may be bedridden or they may be in coma or maybe on ventilator, they cannot use the toilets. So in such patients, the excreta which is collected in the diaper is considered as biomedical waste, and you have to throw them in the yellow bag or container. For those patients who are using the toilets, toilets should be used, that should be clean with regular disinfectant, and sodium hypochlorite solution can be sprayed twice in a day, like that, so that whenever the other patient is again using, there is again no transmission, like that. And the personal protection equipment, like the kits which are being used by the doctors, like goggles, face shields, splash proof apron, and the plastic coverall, all these gloves, they have to be thrown into the red bag. Like all these are recyclable items. Whereas others like mask, this AAA surgical mask, N95 mask, head cover, cap, shoes cover, all this non-plastic or semi-plastic overalls, they have to be thrown into the yellow bags because they're considered as infectious waste. Okay, next, masks, tissues, and toiletries of the COVID-19 patient is also considered as biomedical waste, and they also should be thrown into the yellow bag. So at the point of generation, that is in the wards or isolation rooms, whatever, there only you have to segregate into yellow or red or blue or white. So wherever the waste collection room, there you should not do the segregation again. So at the point of generation only, it's good to segregate, because it's not good for the sanitary workers who are transporting them, to ensure occupational safety. Occupational safety is nothing but the sanitary workers, to avoid any infection, reinfection to them. You have to segregate at the point of generation itself. And all the waste handlers, that is all the sanitary workers who are working, they have to be given proper training, like how to, they have to wear PPE kits first of all, and they should be taking care, they have to maintain social distance, they have to wear the complete PPE and all. About all the infection prevention measures, they have to be completely trained in their local language by the nodal officer concerned, and the nodal officers in turn, then they have to be trained by the state pollution control board or the PCCs, who are the pollution control committees. The proper training has to be done, so that there is no reinfection to the waste handlers who are working with this as well. So this is again the same, the biomedical waste management in COVID-19 isolation ward, just a pictorial representation. You have to have all the bins in the wards, so that you can just at the point of generation itself, you can segregate the waste, and it should be sprayed with sodium hypochlorite solution, 1% sodium hypochlorite solution outside and inside. And this is about it. Thank you. Here I would like to add a point. So most of the patients now we are having in home quarantine. Like COVID-19 also, some mild to moderate cases, we are managing in home quarantine. You also might be having seen so many of your relatives are in a home itself. So there may be home quarantine or home isolation patients, COVID-19 patients. So how to manage them? Because in homes we will not be having the yellow bags or red bags or blue bags, like that will be not be having. So how to manage them? Here we have to use separate covers for this. So if the person is isolated in a room, give him one cover when he is going to the room itself. So give him one cover, so that all the waste which he is using, any disposable food or whatever, everything you have to just throw them into one separate bag. You must not mix that waste into the regular other household waste. You have to, using gloves, you have to handle that waste to the municipal solid waste, telling them this is the biomedical waste of COVID-19, so that they will be disposing them in the same, like they will be taken to the common biomedical treatment facilities, just like they would be considered this as yellow bags, and they would be treating it, so that there is no again infection to any the municipal workers who are working like that. You should not just throw into the general waste, like the kitchen waste and everything, the municipal waste which you are giving, you must not mix up with the regular waste which is used by the COVID-19 patients. So if anybody asks, or when giving, when you know anybody like that, please advise them to use separate covers for all the waste which is generated by the COVID-19 patients. Okay? Thank you.